Your neighbor's lawn is emerald and yours is patchy and brown, and you have spent more money than he has. That sentence describes thousands of homeowners, and it is the reason I made this video. I'm going to show you the easiest and the cheapest method to grow a lawn that finally outperforms the one next door. Not with a bigger budget, but with better timing and better biology. And by the end of this video, I will point you to the full 21-day protocol I assembled for the people inside the Forbidden Lawn Code. This week, for less than the price of a single professional lawn service visit. But first, the real reason your lawn stays brown no matter what you spray on it. Here's the uncomfortable part, and I want to be honest with you about it. The lawn care industry is not a conspiracy, and I'm not going to pretend it is one. It is simply a business built on recurring visits. A company that sprays your lawn every month makes money when you renew the contract, not when your lawn becomes self-sufficient. That is not evil, it is just an incentive, and the incentive points toward treating symptoms rather than fixing causes. A brown patch gets sprayed, a weed gets sprayed, an insect gets sprayed, and next month the technician comes back and sprays again. The cause underneath all of it almost never gets addressed. And the cause is almost always the same three things: poor timing, weak soil biology, and the wrong grass genetics. Fix those three, and most of the spraying becomes unnecessary. That is the whole method, and the rest of this video is how you do it. Let me start with the single most important thing, because it costs nothing: timing. Most people seed their lawn when the air feels nice, usually a warm afternoon in late spring. That is the wrong signal, and it is why their seed fails. Grass seed does not respond to air temperature, it responds to soil temperature. Penn State. Extension turfgrass research is clear on this. Cool season grasses, the fescues, the ryegrasses, the bluegrasses that make up most northern lawns, produce their strongest root growth when soil sits between 50 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Below that range, the seed lies dormant and rots or feeds the birds. Above it, the heat stops germination and invites disease. That window of 50 to 65 degrees opens twice a year, in the early fall and again in the mid-spring. And here is the detail almost nobody acts on. You cannot read that window from the weather report. You read it with a soil thermometer pushed 2 to 3 inches into the ground, taken at the same time each morning. A soil thermometer costs under $15 at any hardware store. That single tool, used at the right moment, does more for your lawn than a year of contracted spraying. Before I go further, let me be straight with you about what comes next. I have put the easiest version of this method into this free video. But the full day-by-day calendar, the exact seed sources, and the recipes belong inside the complete guide. That guide is the Forbidden Lawn Code, and the link is the first one in the description. This week, it costs less than one professional lawn service visit, and I will explain the full offer in a moment. For now, stay with me, because the next piece is the one that beats your neighbor. Genetics. Here is something turf scientists have known for decades that most homeowners have never heard. Certain fescue and ryegrass varieties grow in partnership with a beneficial fungus that lives inside the plant. These are called endophyte-enhanced grasses, and the relationship is natural and well documented in turf grass science. The fungus produces compounds that make the grass far less attractive to surface-feeding insects. Sod, webworms, chinch bugs, and billbugs tend to leave endophyte-enhanced turf alone. That means a lawn that resists the very pests your neighbor pays to have sprayed every season. You are not buying a chemical, you are buying the right seed once, and the protection comes built in. The catch is that you have to know how to read the seed label to find a high endophyte variety, because the bag rarely advertises it plainly. That label reading skill is one of the things I walk through step by step inside the guide. Now the third piece, soil biology, and this is where the color comes from. A lawn that looks pale and tired is usually a lawn with dead soil underneath it. Synthetic fertilizer gives a quick green flush and then leaves the soil more dependent than before. Living soil, full of microbes, feeds the grass steadily and holds water far better. The cheapest way to rebuild that biology is compost and properly brewed compost tea. Michigan State and other land-grant turf programs have studied compost top dressing and its effect on turf quality and soil health. A thin layer of finished compost, raked into the surface right after you seed in that 50 to 65 degree window, does two jobs at once. It feeds the new seedlings, and it inoculates the soil with the microbes that keep the lawn green between feedings. That is the entire foundation, and notice what it does not include. No monthly contract, no synthetic program, no glyphosate, no fungicide schedule. Just timing, genetics, and biology, applied in the right order at the right moment. Let me put the cost side by side, because this is the part that surprises people. A typical professional lawn service in the United States runs 4 to 8 visits a year. Industry figures put that somewhere between $400 and $1,200 annually, and a single visit averages around $58. That is every year, for as long as you own the house. The method I just described costs a soil thermometer, a bag of the right seed, and some compost. Under $50 in the first year, and far less after that, because good soil and the right grass keep working on their own. That is the easiest and cheapest method, and you now have the honest version of it for free. Stop. I want to be transparent about one more thing before I make my offer. Everything I just told you is enough to start, and some of you will run with it and never buy anything. That is fine, and I mean that. But there are 3 things I genuinely could not fit into this video. The first is the complete 21-day reset calendar, built separately for 4 different climate zones, so you know exactly what to do on which day for your region. The second is the verified seed sourcing guide, with the endophyte varieties that actually perform in your zone and how to confirm them on the label. The third is the compost tea brewing guide, with the build and the application windows that make the color shift dramatic instead of subtle. Those 3 live inside the Forbidden Lawn Code, and they are real, verifiable content, not secrets. The link is the first one in the description. Here is the full picture, so you can decide for yourself. The core guide is 7 chapters and references dozens of turf grass studies from sources like Penn State, Michigan State, Texas A&M, and the United States Department of Agriculture. Alongside it, you get the 21-day reset calendar for 4 climate zones, the endophyte seed sourcing guide, a set of low-cost weed treatment recipes, the compost tea brewing guide, a drought resilience atlas for water-wise overseeding, and lifetime updates as new turf research is published. If you act within the first 48 hours after watching, you also get a personal lawn photo diagnosis, where you send 1 photo and 1 question and get a specific answer back. That fast action bonus is a genuine time-limited add-on, not a fake countdown, and it closes because I answer those personally in batches. The whole stack would price out around $327 if sold piece by piece. This week, the full guide is $24.97 one time with lifetime access. That is less than 1 professional lawn service visit. And unlike that visit, it replaces the service instead of maintaining the problem. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee, which is a full growing season to test it. If your lawn is not visibly better, write 1 email with 1 word, refund, and you get every cent back and you keep all the bonuses. That is the entire offer, and the link is the first one in the description. Individual results vary with soil, climate, grass type, and how consistently you apply the steps. And this is education, not a guarantee of any specific outcome. Now let us get back to the lawn itself, because there is one more practical step that ties the whole method together, and most people skip it. Before you seed in that soil temperature window, mow slightly lower than usual and rake hard to expose bare soil. Seed needs direct contact with soil to germinate, and a thick thatch layer blocks that contact completely. This single pass of preparation is the difference between seed that establishes and seed that simply sits on top and dies. Push the soil thermometer in, wait for that 50 to 65 degree reading, rake to bare soil, spread your endophyte seed, top dress with a thin layer of compost, and keep it lightly moist until it sprouts. Do that once, at the right moment, with the right seed, and you have started a lawn that costs almost nothing to keep and outperforms the one your neighbor pays a company to maintain. If this was useful, subscribe to this channel, because timing the next seeding window is something I will remind you about when it opens for your region. The knowledge to grow a great lawn cheaply has always existed in the turf research, and it belongs to the homeowners willing to use it.